Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are jumping right into a highly unusual, honestly, an absolutely fascinating esoteric text. We're looking at an alleged, deeply documented conversation with an extraterrestrial entity. Now, whether you look at this as sci-fi, spiritual channeling, or maybe some undiscovered cosmic truth, the sheer structure and the unapologetic philosophy in this source material are just, well, they're captivating. We're going to break down exactly what this entity claims about human history, and spoiler alert, it completely flips everything we usually get from pop culture. So, take a breath and let's dive into this.
Right out of the gate, this source material does not hold back. The entity claims direct, completely unsentimental responsibility for humanity's surviving at all. According to the text, if it weren't for their calculated intervention, early, weak humans, just walking around on two legs, would have basically been an all-you-can-eat buffet for dinosaurs. They say they stepped in, gave us the physical strength and the first weapons we needed to survive an incredibly hostile world. It's a breathtakingly bold claim, right? It frames all of human history not as this natural, organic progression, but as a heavily managed, deliberate project. Which brings us to the core question of today's explainer. Who is really driving human evolution? This text forces us to look at a pretty profound, almost unsettling idea. According to the dialogue we're looking at, is human progress truly our own hard-won achievement? Or is it the result of this unseen, forceful cosmic intervention? Let's meet the architect behind these staggering claims.
Section 1. Meet the Zeta Reptilian from the Magellanic Clouds. Let's unpack exactly who or what is speaking in this chapter.
So, they identify as a female reptilian from the Zeta Star in the Magellanic Clouds. But listen, you've got to forget everything Hollywood has taught you about humanoid green lizards. This entity describes its true form as resembling a massive pterosaur, specifically a pteranodon. Yeah, like the dinosaur. They openly admit that, to a primitive human, they'd look like this terrifying bird of prey or a massive winged reptile straight out of the Jurassic period. But the text insists this is their true, unfiltered biological form.
Now you might be wondering, how on earth do they interact with us without causing mass panic? Because, let's be real, a giant, highly intelligent pterodon strolling down the street would trigger pure chaos. Well, the text claims these beings operate almost like transformers. They have this highly advanced shape-shifting capability. They can alter their appearance so that to a human observer, they look totally normal or just go completely unnoticed. They purposely hide that prehistoric-looking form because they know the sheer terror it would instantly spark in the humans they're trying to influence.
Section 2. The Core Philosophy. Fierce Competition. What drives a being of this immense, ancient nature to bother with Earth at all?
The source lays out a very specific, fiercely unapologetic cosmic ethos. Identifying themselves as the gods of evolution, they firmly believe that true progress absolutely requires fierce, relentless competition. From their perspective, purely peaceful eras, which, sound pretty idyllic to us, are actually dangerous periods of stagnation. They argue that conflict, rapid technological advancement, and intense rivalry are the non-negotiable engines that drive a civilization forward and ensure it actually survives. They literally view themselves as the necessary catalysts for those clashes.
The text explicitly contrasts their aggressive, surgical approach to building a civilization against traditional Earth teachings, things like love, harmony, and forgiveness. The Reptilian argues that, hey, love and harmony are great in theory, but they are dangerously insufficient on their own for surviving in a harsh universe. If left entirely to peaceful harmony, they claim Earth's evolution would have completely flatlined. They actually describe their competitive interventions as a necessary surgical operation, basically cutting away weakness to forcefully upgrade humanity.
Section 3. The Truth About Greys, a Cosmic Revelation. This highly clinical philosophy ties right into something we all recognize.
We're talking about the Greys, big heads, large black eyes, slender bodies. You know the ones. If these massive pterodon-like reptilians are the true masterminds pulling the strings, where exactly do the gray aliens fit in? Are they partners, rivals?
Get ready for a major twist, because the text reveals the Greys aren't an independent alien species at all. The entity explicitly states that they are cyborgs. They're manufactured biological exploration machines created by the Reptilians. The text even points out that Greys are physically super frail. The entity actually jokes that a human could easily take one out with a baseball bat. So rather than being cosmic overlords, the Greys are just unfeeling probes. They function as the remote eyes for the Reptilians, gathering precise data on Earth safely from a distance.
Section 4. Shaping Earth's Empires, a track record of intervention. According to the dialogue, these entities haven't just been passively watching us.
They claim to have actively, surgically shaped our major historical eras. Let's look at this staggering timeline. Beyond saving early humans from dinosaurs, they claim to be the driving force behind the last few hundred years of Earth's rapid technological explosion. They specifically tie their philosophy of competition to the rise of the Anglo-Saxon British Empire. After that, they say they heavily influenced the American Protestant work ethic to build U.S. global hegemony. And in the late 20th century, they assert they intervened in China during Deng Xiaoping's era, pushing the country out of a 2,000-year stagnation into rapid modernization. It's wild to think about, viewing our own recent history not as human triumphs, but as managed phases of an alien project.
But interestingly, the text does note some exceptions to their influence. For instance, it claims former U.S. President Barack Obama was not influenced by reptilians. Instead, the text reports his roots trace back to the Dogon, a distinct alien faction descending from a sister star to Sirius. The text paints a vivid picture of this Dogon lineage, describing them as resembling blue foxes with tails. They're known for being incredibly cunning, highly intellectual, and heavily focused on peace and survival, totally contrasting with the reptilians' fierce combativeness.
Section 5. A controversial cosmic goal. So what's the ultimate endgame here?
Why treat Earth like a giant laboratory for technological rivalry, while the entity asserts their civilization is at least 1,000 years ahead of ours? But it's not just about better microchips or faster spaceships. They claim to possess technology that perfectly unifies with a near eighth-dimensional spiritual enlightenment. From their highly elevated viewpoint, they've merged profound spiritual wisdom with high-tech space travel. When they look at Earth, they see a glaring, dangerous imbalance. We're developing the tech, but we completely lack the unified spiritual discipline needed to actually wield it safely.
To highlight how these teachings can go sideways, the text actually brings up the concept of hell. They claim the figure of Lucifer originally learned their valid philosophy of competition. But Lucifer tragically misinterpreted the core lesson. See, while the Reptilians use competition strictly for the mutual evolution and prosperity of a whole civilization, Lucifer twisted it into a vain desire for self-centered domination. That eternal dictatorship is what created hell. The Reptilians fiercely maintain their brand of competition is meant to elevate the entire species, absolutely never to enslave it. So, from their advanced perspective, Earth's current state is terribly, almost hopelessly backward. The entity actually calls our mainstream philosophies cannibalistic ideas, systems that just consume themselves without producing any real cosmic progress. Because we are, in their eyes, so far behind, they feel totally justified in their unsentimental, forceful push to elevate us. To them, we're basically primitives who desperately need a harsh, guiding hand to ever reach that eighth-dimensional enlightenment.
Which leaves us with a really profound, lingering question to ponder. If we look at the rapid, unnatural explosion of technology, empire, and global conflict over the last few centuries purely through the lens of this esoteric text, are our greatest leaps forward truly our own triumphs of the human spirit? Or are they the calculated results of a cosmic, surgical operation by ancient beings running a grand, competitive experiment? It's a staggering concept to wrap your head around for sure. Thank you for joining me on The Explainer as we unpack this genuinely incredible source material. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.